Welcome to the November 2025 Be What You Don't See iFishiBelong interview. And I am beyond lucky and privileged to introduce you to my casting mentor, which has been a really long time, which we'll get into that, but also really good friend, Molly Semenik. Welcome, Molly.
Thank you, Heather.
It's so exciting to have you here, and definitely we're at the top of our list as far as Be What You Don't See leaders. Part of that is because you are the Be What You Don't See. You have had so many different roles within the fly fishing industry, and you just continue to evolve. And we are excited to share more about that. So if you want to introduce yourself and just a little bit, kind of about you and your history, we'd love to hear it.
Well, thank you. Thank you for inviting me. It's such a wonderful opportunity to think about where I've come from and where I am today. It's good to just slow down and think about it. So I really appreciate this opportunity. Currently, I'm a fly casting instructor with the Fly Fishers International Casting Instructor Certification Program. I have my single-hand master certification and my two-hand master certification. We can talk more about that later when we talk about guiding. But when I started, I thought about this morning. I haven't thought about this in a really long time. I was born in 1957, and I grew up in the suburbs of Detroit when the suburbs were being built. Like, I was the first house in this neighborhood of all these houses. I grew up with houses being built, and there was a lake in the middle of it. It was about 7 blocks away. And I walked there. I could walk there. It was safe. I was 8 years old. And there were fish, panfish, and I wanted to catch them. I don't remember ever watching anyone catch a fish. I don't remember reading a book about catching fish. My dad didn't take me fishing, but he did take me to Kmart to buy my first pole. And then he ordered me a bike out of Sears Roebuck catalog as Schwinn, and it had a luggage rack on the back, and he bought me a tackle box. Awesome. And that was it. I had no one. I went completely by myself. What is that? Who does that?
Well, and at 8, you probably didn't even know how to read, really.
Yeah. No, and I didn't know how to tie on a hook.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
I learned how to get it out of my foot.
Yeah.
But so there was a passion.
Mm.
I was born with it. No one gave it to me. It was inherent. It was deep. I still have it today. What a gift.
Yeah, you definitely still have it today. So you went from, kind of 8 years old, being in the ponds, catching panfish. So you have a whole other life, correct? Before fishing, because you didn't really start guiding or kind of getting into the industry until a little bit later on. So talk a little bit about your just earlier years pre-fishing too, because I think it's pretty interesting
Well, pre-fishing, my father started introducing me to fly fishing when I was 14. And Orvis had a destination travel business within the Orvis company. And he worked for an automotive industry. He had the finances to take me to lodges to go fishing. So I was exposed to guides from a very early age. Back then, the guides in the 70s were a little different, especially in Montana, than they are today. But I was welcome. I was always welcome. Awesome. And I learned from them, did not know that I someday would be a guide. I don't remember what year it was, Heather. I think I was 17 or 18, and I was fishing on Depew Spring Creek in Livingston, Montana. So it was late 70s. And that must have had a spark somewhere in the back of my mind, because that's where I ended up guiding.
Wow.
At 43. So you don't know how life's going to, you just take one step ahead of the other, and there you go. Follow your passion, and there you go.
Well, and I think that that's a big part of it too, is being what you don't see, because a lot of women and other people, just all people, as we start to get older, we think, oh, we're too old to start something new, right? Or we're afraid because we see a lot of young people that are getting into guiding and whatnot. So I think that that's a huge thing to talk about also, is that you started at 43. I mean, that hopefully gives a lot of folks encouragement that they too can start at 20 or they can start at 60. It doesn't matter what age you are. You can get into the fishing industry and or be a leader, yeah.
It's absolutely true. And we're living longer now. We have to stay healthy. We have to go to the gym. Stepping in and out of rivers is not easy. Uneven rocks is not easy. It motivates me to go to the gym and stay healthy.
Right.
So I think in my senior years, I'm going to be a very busy woman.
It's so funny because I don't even think of you as senior at all.
Well, I am.
I know, but I don't see that at all. But so, okay, you're 43, you started guiding. So where was this at? I know you said Montana. Talk us through how you decided to become a guide and where you were at within the geography of Montana.
So at the time, my husband and I were living in Salt Lake City, and our daughter was 14. And we had just had enough of the city life in Salt Lake. We had a great run, 28 years in Utah, but we wanted to change it up. And so my husband said, well, I've been the primary breadwinner. Let's switch this up. What do you want to do? And I said, I want to be a guide. I can't believe I said it. I can't believe I did it. I called up Clackacraft. On Mother's Day, on a Sunday, they stayed open in a rainstorm, and I pulled up in Idaho, hooked up my Clackacraft, drove to Livingston to a rental. They didn't have internet. I found it in a newspaper. I actually subscribed to the Livingston Enterprise and got their newspaper every week, found a rental that I hadn't even seen, and pulled up in the driveway and went, okay, here we go.
Oh my God. You obviously had fishing experience and you had been around a lot of guides, but
right. And I rowed boats. I actually had my whitewater commercial guide license and ran a whole nother business. I won't get into that, but I know risk liability. I understand how to row. I understand how to be on water.
what were your experiences starting off?
You have to, in Montana, have to work under an outfitter for your first 120 days of guiding. So there were 5 shops in Livingston, Montana. I was turned away from the first one, second one, third one, fourth one, fifth one. Dean Reiner, Hatch Finders, said, well, let's do a test run. So he took me on to the Missouri River. This is a true story. With his dog, Pookie. We named a fly after, Pink Pookie. And we're on the river. He's being a jerk, just a jerk client, like he would be. And the wind picks up, and then it howls, and then it howls even harder.
Oof.
And eventually, and I'm a good rower, and it pushed me into the bank. And I said, Dean, at what point would you probably say to your client, we really should stop fishing? And he said, oh, about an hour ago. You're hired.
That's awesome.
So I had 120 days before I could take the outfitter's license. In Montana, the structure is great. You've got to be a good guide. You've got to be professional, and you have to work hard or you'll get fired. That was my training ground, that 120 days. And I didn't have they were all guys at the time. Guides, I had one person, Paul Bretz, that really helped me tremendously. But the rest, there were guys hanging out the bar afterwards. But I had a daughter. I had to go home and clean my boat and get dinner going. And so I kind of was different than everybody else. So I had to just find people around me that would teach me, which I did, and just hang in there and know that I could do it and find my own niche, which was the instruction part. That's where the certification came in. I found my niche.
You did. You definitely found your niche.
Yeah, and it worked.
And just talking about mentors too, I think that that's the fifth person finally gave you a chance. And I think that that's so important for just the current day, is that for people to not generalize, not assume, and we have to give anybody that wants to be in the industry or wants to be a guide, wants to be an author, wants to be an instructor, a chance. Like, we all started somewhere, right? We've all been pushed in the wind and pushed to shore. We've all done that. We've all missed fish, and we're still always learning. So I think that's a huge, important thing. That's amazing that somebody gave you a chance, and look at where you're at now.
Yep. And there was a question that you were going to ask at one point about how can we create a more welcoming and inclusive environment? This is going to sound so simple, but it's not done enough. Hi, how are you? My name's Molly. What's yours? Shake their hand. How can I help you? It doesn't happen enough in clubs. It doesn't happen enough in fly shops. To this day, reach your hand out, introduce yourself. Don't be shy. It does so much.
Yeah,
It's so simple.
It is so simple, but yet so hard. With guiding, is that when you created Tie the Knot Fly Fishing?
Yes, my girlfriend Jean Con and I were sitting around the kitchen table. I said, I think I need to start a business. Okay, well, it needs a name. Well, you can't fly fish or fish at all unless you can tie a knot.
Fair.
And knots are tied together between two pieces. So it builds a relationship. So tie the knot. And I never once got a wedding call.
Well, that's good.
But that's where tie the knot came. It ties people together.
Awesome. And how long so that's been 20 plus years, correct?
23 years to be exact.
That's amazing. 23 years. Did you always know that you wanted to take your guiding to teaching or kind of that instruction? Or
Yes.
Something as you learned?
I love to teach. I love to understand better how to communicate to affect change. Because I get such a high from watching someone understand something and then do it and then watch their confidence go like that and then big smile on their face. That, I just love it. I can't get enough of it. And so teaching is just part of who I am. I've always enjoyed it.
Tell us a little bit about wasn't it the Yellowstone Fishing School?
Matt Wilhelm and I started the Yellowstone Fly Fishing School. It's still in business today. We started it together, and then when I moved, I sold it to him, I think, for $10 or something. He's still in existence.
And we see him when we're fishing in the summer for cutthroat. It's awesome.
Right. Yeah.
We all like to frequent the same rivers, so it's fun to connect with them. Yeah.
And then the other part of my business was women's destination travel, and I did that for 21 years. So that was a great component of my business as well.
And you went to Alaska. You were one of our hosts for Alaska way back when Justin and Kate, they purchased the lodge and everything. So,
well, I hosted a trip for Western Rivers Fly Fishers. Western Rivers Fly Fishers really took me under their wing when I moved to Salt Lake City and started learning about the big waters of the West.
Yeah.
And Steve Schmidt asked me to host a saltwater trip to the Bahamas in 1982.
Wow. And was that women's only, or was that all people?
Couples. That was couples.
Okay, cool.
He wanted a woman on the trip.
Wow, that's amazing. Of the trips that you've done and you've hosted, where would you say is your top location that you have gone? It's a hard question.
It's none of those.
Okay, none of those. What is your top location that you like?
It's a certain place.
Okay.
On the Yellowstone River.
Okay.
In the middle of March.
Okay.
When the blue wings are popping. Well, it starts with midges, and the blue wings start at 11 a.m. Then they're done at 3, and then the midges start again. Okay. So you can go through an entire life cycle of the midges, and the blue wings, then the midges again in one day.
Okay. And is this when you would look at you'd be at your house and you look at because I know I've heard stories of you where you vacuuming, you look at the time.
And I have a wind meter, and it tells me the direction. And my husband would come home and go, okay, the vacuum's in the middle of the family room. The car's gone. Yeah. I know where she is.
Well, so you'd say you're definitely, species of choice is trout and maybe now steelhead, which are also trout, but yeah.
Trout and trout.
Yeah, trout and trout. I love it.
Yeah.
So you decide to leave Montana. So then now you're Washingtonian. So kind of what sparked that decision to move to Blaine, Washington?
Our daughter moved to Canada, Vancouver, BC.
Okay.
And she became pregnant and said, I want you and Dad to be part of my life and my children's life. And so there we go.
Yeah. Okay.
And we had been in Montana for 15 years. Winters were starting to get long. We were ready.
Yeah. Yeah. So when did casting and kind of FFI, so those that don't know, FFI is the Fly Fishers International. So when did FFI come into your life?
Well, that's a great, I've told this story many times to Fly Fishers International folks. In 2000, my daughter and I are driving in Livingston, and I showed her the school she's going to go to. And there was this Fly Fishers International conclave going on. And well, what is that? So we pulled in.
Cool.
I walked in, Darwin Atkins, hand out. My name's Darwin, what's yours?
Awesome.
Do you know anything about what's going? No. Joan Wolfe was there. Mel Krieger was there. Maggie Merriman was there. I was completely welcomed. And Joan, Joan's she was a professional instructor. And I was like, I want to do that. I want to do that. And I've never left.
Wow. That's amazing. Because of FFI. I mean, I met you because of FFI. I've met so many incredible people that are hard, but it's because they want to make you better, as an instructor and or to really understand the fundamentals of casting and just fishing, because at the end of the day, the better caster you are, the better angler you can be, because you can get to the spot where a lot of those fish are.
Right.
Or
well, and it's about teaching. So the love of teaching. So when I was fishing with you, and you videotaped me just recently, and I looked at my videos, I was a bit horrified and humbled, and that's fine. It's okay. It's all part of learning.
Yeah.
But it was because when I practice and teach, I don't stand with one foot higher than the other and water to my thighs. And so it made me come back and think about when I am teaching, I need to understand that I've got a teaching demonstration that's for the student to be able to see and relate to. But I also have to weave in, but in reality, you might not that I'm going to get a bunch of stepping stools out and have them be uneven, but I will remember to bring that back into the equation of when I'm teaching, that when you're fishing, it's the reason why I'm going on this vertical is for you to see it.
Right.
But if you're trying to tuck a grasshopper under a bush, you're way down here.
Yeah. Or even just teaching in those climate changes, right? Like such as if it's rainy and windy, there's no better time than to get out and start casting and practicing,
That's right.
And me being 5'1", it's a lot different because your thigh for me is like my waist.
Right.
And it's definitely different. And you and I have always talked about casting versus fishing. And some of the best fish you and I have ever caught together are on really crappy casts.
Saltwater quick cast on grass. You want to get your muscles going and get used to that 8, 9 weight. And so you might, if you're good, smart, practice for a month.
Yeah.
Then you get out in the wind, you get on the bow, the boat's doing, everything changes. It's not everything changes. It's good that you put your work in, but it will be harder.
So as a casting instructor, do you do certain drills or do you give folks that want to go out for saltwater? Are there any specific drills that you give them?
Absolutely.
To make them better?
Yep. There are absolutely drills, practice drills.
Yeah.
Both salt and freshwater. And really a month at least before you go. It'll help. It'll really help to practice that. The more you do on the grass and practice, you can pull it into your fishing. You really can.
The more casting tools you have, the more you can get the fly where it needs to be. So,
right. Right.
Okay, so
it's fun.
So it's amazing. And I think too, people spend so much money on these trips or even just driving to where you and I just were at, on the Grand Round River for steelhead. Like you spend a lot of money in gas and all the things.
Right.
So you want to practice a little bit. And I think too, specifically for destination,
right.
If you don't practice and then you have really high expectations, you might really get down on yourself. So it's good to practice and just invest in yourself. Right. To be the best that you can be, whatever that looks like, and then the next year you're going to be better.
It's fun. Casting is fun. It's supposed to be fun.
It is. And especially when you can beat your friends, that's fun. Or like, give yourself a goal. Okay, being accurate. I want to hit this or a distance or whatever it might be. Talking about casting, you and I, I'm trying to think. Oh my gosh, I've probably known you now. Well, pre-Eric. So probably 13.
Pre-Spokane Women on the Fly.
That's right. Okay. So probably 2012, 2013. That's a long time ago. How I met you because I asked you to be a part of an event. That's right. It was not Spokane on the Fly. It was through Trout Unlimited in Clay Ellum to come over and teach. And Derek Young, actually, he was the president of the chapter for Trout Unlimited. And he said, "Hey, do you know Molly Semenik?" And I was like, "No, but I want to get to know her." He's like, "Yes, you need to invite her. You need to have her come. You need to have her teach casting." So that's kind of how you and I were introduced. And then I kind of have gone down this rabbit hole. I've had ebb and flows of trying to get certified to be a casting instructor. And the task one scares me for some stupid reason. And I can't get past it, but that's fine. But let's talk about it. Like you said that you were single-handed master casting instructor as well as a two-handed master casting instructor. And I would say that is like maybe the only woman in the world, but definitely like one of a very few amount. So like just as far as like the casting skills that you have and what you've accomplished be what you don't see. It just goes to show that anybody can do this, right? You just have to put in that time and effort.
You have to put in the time and effort and have a mentor that will get you there. But you also have to want to do it because it's a lot of self-motivation. Mm-hmm. It is intimidating as all get out. I had to deal with that, in addition to my skill set. But I did. But I wanted to. And it's not for everybody. I've seen you cast. You're beautiful. You're a beautiful caster. You don't need it. It's just something that is for people that are interested in it. And for someone that wants to build a business and be a guide, I highly recommend it. Absolutely. It builds confidence, builds your teaching ability, build your value for the customer.
And your terminology too. I think that's the biggest thing that I've learned from it, even though I've never taken the actual test, is just the terminology, learning what trajectory is, what arc is, what a casting stroke is, casting stroke length. And I think the greatness of it is that all people that understand rod mechanics and casting mechanics use that same terminology.
It's true.
So it kind of has it's a standard of, not a standard of care, I'm thinking of as a nurse, but it's a standard of casting to where when you're teaching someone, you're using the same terminology as what someone else would use.
Right.
The 180-degree rule, that's for single hand and two-handed, right? And so
you said something to me. You said your D-loop time to develop. Mm-hmm. That is a teaching term. I knew exactly what you meant. And when I looked at the videos, you were spot on. Eric said you're cutting the corner. And that's a two-hand term. I knew exactly what he meant. I was able to reach out and stop cutting the corner.
Yeah.
So, and it was just quick. Because we're fishing. You don't want to have a whole dialogue out there.
Yeah. Well, and even like with two-handed, Molly, who you haven't met, my friend Molly, she just learned how to spay cast. Literally, we had one lesson. And her first run, Molly, oh my gosh, she's like a quarter of the way in, she hooks one.
That's great.
She asked me, she's like, "Should I practice with yarn?" I was like, "No, get out there." I'm not even in my waders yet. I'm like just wanting to help her. And she gets one. And on her first time ever swinging a run.
Unbelievable.
And then the next time she gets another one. I said, "Molly, do not get used to this. This is not normal."
Right.
But the cool thing is by learning all of this different terminology, especially for two-handed, it's like, okay, you want to lift, you want to, drop, create your anchor, you want to sweep, circle up to your key position, forward stroke, right?
Right.
And so I could tell her all those little terminology. I was like, "Molly, you're not sweeping. I really want you to have a bit of a white mouse and I want you to circle up to the key position." And she did it. Like the next 2 days later, she first time ever doing a double spay. She had only learned the snap tee or the circle cast, and did a double spay. She hooked and landed a king salmon. It was awesome, and just to watch the progression. And that's why I think CI.
Isn't it exciting?
Oh my gosh, but I think MCI CI for single or two-handed is so important because it has that same terminology. So.
Right.
If somebody is interested in doing that, can you give just a little kind of synopsis of what that looks like and how they can find a mentor and how they can apply for the test?
So go to Fly Fishers International website, flyfishersinternational.org, and go to casting education, and then go down to the certification and get familiar with it. And there is a find a mentor, find an instructor. You can email me. I can help you find someone in your geographical area. International. It's an international organization. We have a huge event going on in, I think it's Malaysia, or maybe it's Japan, and they're going to be, there's a lot of Chinese candidates that are going to be taking their CIs. I think there's 30 Japanese and Chinese individuals getting their certification this month, in a couple weeks.
Awesome. Let's say somebody has trained for it, taken the test, and doesn't pass. What advice would you have for those candidates or those folks that just, pick themselves up and to retry? What advice do you have?
Well, first of all, it hurts, because I didn't pass my MCI the first time, and it hurts. It takes a couple days to kind of shake it off. Disappointment. Think of it as a step. It's a learning step. I never stop learning, ever. You've already experienced the exam, so you're a huge step ahead.
Right.
You know the anxiety and then the examiner will give you really good notes. So it was worth it in that regard.
Right.
You had 2 hours with 2 MCIs. So that's an amazing amount of help in your journey to get to where you want to go. And then you take it again.
Cool.
And you pass.
And you pass. If someone doesn't want to do a CI, can you talk a little bit about I don't know if it's called the skills challenge anymore, or I know it's been.
We took challenge out because that was a little scary.
Okay.
So yeah. Fly casting skills development, which is a long word. This year, we've had at least 600 people go through it.
So cool.
It's on the website. It's at your own pace. There are fishing skills. There's a quick glance. There's 4 levels, 7 skills per level. They build on themselves, and they're all fishing related. And you do it on your own. You do it with a friend. I'm happen to be the team leader of that, so you can always call me and I can help you get started. We have a team to help you run through it or run people through it. It builds clubs. It builds, gives you ideas for activities. It also is a great way to start a student. If all of a sudden you find someone that wants to learn how to fly cast, you can use it as your agenda.
Well, I think that's a big thing for clubs, organizations. I'm even thinking now for our DIY fishing events, that might be a really fun couple hour where people can go through the different tasks. And as you mentioned, it's all fishing related. So if you get better at it, you practice, it's roll casting, it's, horizontal casting, like you said, trying to throw a grasshopper under a bush. It's all of those fishing related scenarios that you're going to
do it with a friend or do it with a bunch of friends and just set it up and go through it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You guide, outfitter, one of a few women that have your MCI, both single hand and also two-handed, but you're also an author. And what's really cool is November 1st was Author's Day. And that was a big reason why I wanted you to kind of be on here too, because we don't see, I have all my books behind me, all my fishing books, and I maybe have 4 or 5 that were written by a woman. To me, I think it's so incredible to have, I want to see more women out there writing and becoming an author. Tell us a little bit about your book and kind of that journey with your thought process and how you got it published.
I was at an International Sportsman's Expo. Terry Gunn asked me if I had any interest writing a book. I was like, what? Me? I'm the worst writer. And I thought about it. And I don't know, I said yes, which is beyond me. And the reason was guide prices kept going up. Mm-hmm. And I started feeling like it was becoming only people that have a certain amount of money can afford a guide.
Right.
Plus, part of the fun is going out and exploring new land, and that adventure of feeling like you're the only one that's ever fished that section ever. And so I wanted it to encourage people to get out, and you can do it on your own. Right. That was the whole idea of the book. And I felt that was important, and that's why I wanted to do it. And so I talked to the Stonefly Press, who's no longer in business. In fact, all of the copies of my book were sold out from underneath me. I don't get a penny from the book anymore. They're on Amazon. I don't know how they got the book. I don't know who sold it to them. but the publisher's gone. I don't even know where the rights to the book are. So if you can grab it, because once they're gone, they're going to be gone.
And what's the book's name?
Off the Beaten Path, 25 Best Montana Streams. It's a get there on your own kind of book. So I chose 5 regions, 25 streams. In the 5 regions, I wanted to do in 30 days.
Wow.
So I grabbed my little 14-foot trailer and had a person meet me at each region and do the 5 rivers with me.
Cool.
I had to learn how to shoot photography. Mm-hmm. I called Tom Rosenbauer of Orvis and asked his advice. He gave me such great advice. He said, Molly, I know you sit. I've guided him and his wife a couple times. He said, sit down in a chair and put the person that you want to talk to in the other chair and just use your voice. And that's how I wrote the book.
That's awesome.
And Peter Lamai did a lot of the photography, phenomenal job. The book is best coffee shop, best drink, is there cell service, nearest hospital, where do you park? I did contact some of the guides in the area to get a feel for, I didn't give away any secrets. They're all there.
Yeah.
And I did it in 30 days.
Wow.
And at night, I had to download all the photographs. I made a hard copy on a journal. I still have it. I'd write every night. And so there were long days. They were 6 a.m. to dark. I'm downloading all the photos in the dark. And I did it in 30 days.
Wow. I didn't know
And I had to catch fish too. There have to be fish photos.
Well, then I think you do include the best dive bar too, I'm pretty sure. And so
you had to go to a bar. I had to go to a bar.
You got to frequent that too. You got to figure out the local culture and experience that too.
So you know what I learned? You know where you get the diciest, best information? Mm-mm. A gas station.
Ooh, okay.
Chamber of Commerce.
Ah, okay.
Hair salon, another one. Go to a hair salon.
Yes.
Where do you eat? Where's the best restaurant? What's the best bar?
That's a really good. Yeah, that's great. Well, and it's such a great book. And, it kind of definitely follows what our DIY fishing events are, where you provide information on the region, the area, the local fly shops, the guides you can hire, and the general way to fish it. But those people still have to go and do it. Having that resource and providing that is just absolutely incredible. Like the book. So any of y'all that are listening, definitely get it. And that's unfortunate. I didn't know that you don't get right, or that you don't have the rights to it. That seems
it's gone.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's it's a dated piece. It's dated. It's already old, 2015.
Yeah, but a lot of that, maybe the restaurants have changed, but right. the fishery, the rivers haven't, right? There's all of that's going to stay the same campgrounds, the same locations.
Right. Campgrounds will be the same.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, there are no secrets, as you said. There might be a few little secret mile markers of where to go, and I think for us, who are we to say that? Who are we to take away the joy of catching a fish, right? So if we can help mentor and empower people with knowledge of how to go and where to go, and they can feel that same feeling that we're getting when we're out on the water, that's what we want. We want everyone in the world to feel that feeling, so it's important.
We do, because it's a quality of life.
Right.
It's getting away from your technology and being a part of nature and immersing yourself in nature. I did a little stat checking today. 71% of our earth is water. And of that, 96% is salt, 4% is fresh.
Wow.
Of the fresh, 0.7% is rivers and lakes, fresh water.
0.7%.
That's it.
Wow.
We don't have a lot. And we need to protect it.
Absolutely. Well, and you told me a stat too and it's like 49% of the world has never seen the Milky Way. So important. You have the ability to get out and experience nature. And it doesn't have to be, in Montana. It could be downtown Minneapolis on the Mississippi River,
It could be the little lake that started me out when I was 8 years old.
100%. Yeah, absolutely.
It just needs to be a spark.
Within that, do you have any advice for people, specifically women, to getting in the industry? This could be anything from casting, guiding, outfitting, or being an author. Like, what advice do you have for folks who want to do it, just haven't taken that initial step?
You have to take the step. First, you have to believe in yourself and to not be afraid of setbacks, because there will be setbacks. Just go ahead and beat yourself up for a day or two. It's okay. Learn from it and step forward and keep going. Believe in yourself, and then find people around you that you trust. They're there. You've got to find them. Some fly shops are better than others. Some clubs are better than others. Some are better matches than others. What you do to introduce people is phenomenal. You've got to find a friend to go with, especially with safety issues that are out there today, both physical and human or environmental, animals, rocks, things like that.
Right.
Find a friend, find a support system. And then something my father told me that I always do to this day: be the best that you can. Be the best at it. If it's photography, social media, writing, and find your niche. You are unique. You'll have your own path. Trust it. Dive into it.
I love it.
Be who you are naturally and let it come to the surface.
So we just fished last week together, and the one thing that I really appreciated what we were talking about when we got back together is you have to take that step, like you said. And so share a little bit about, you come all the way from Blaine, Washington to the Grand Ronde River. It's a river that you fished a long time ago, but not super familiar with. You're not familiar with the drive, with the weather, with the fishing. Nope. You're a master casting two-handed instructor, but that's casting, and then fishing's a whole different ball game, right?
Right.
Yeah, kind of talk a little bit about that too, for not even just people getting in the industry, but also people just getting out and fishing or trying a new technique or a new area. What advice do you have for folks?
Maps. Look at maps. You gave me some advice. We knew where we were going to meet, but I still had to hook up my trailer and hit the road. It's a 9-hour drive. I did it in 2 days. It was exciting, but I was also a little anxious.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I made sure I was safe, had my Garmin, all that stuff. But it's okay to be a little out of whack. That's strengthening. And just the adventure, the drive, the ag land I drove through was phenomenal. And then when I got there, I was by myself. You guys weren't there yet. I went out by myself in the evening. I picked a spot that I thought would be pretty good, except I ended up having to slide down a giant hill, but that's okay. I've done that before. Waders held up.
That's why you go to the gym.
Yeah, that's why I go to the gym. And I got a tug. I was like, wow. Went back, fixed dinner, went to bed, got up early, found some water that I thought looked good, and I hooked up a buck all by myself, landed it. He was huge. He was wild.
Oh my gosh.
And I just sat there, Heather. I was so emotional, and it was because I did it. Yeah. I got out of my comfort zone, made the drive, and I just did it. And that's like, write a book. Okay, I'll figure it out. You just got to take the step. And it is a little uncomfortable when you're not familiar with things, but you get through it.
Mm-hmm. So Nike got it right when they said, just do it.
That's a great slogan.
It's a great slogan.
And I will say, I'm 68 now, and I've been talking to some other women that are fly fishers that fish on their own. And it's a little different than when you're 30
right.
or 40. You have these little anxieties that come in. And I think it's because mortality just is a little bit closer.
Yeah.
So you think of things a little bit differently. But it doesn't mean you have to stop. You just play it a little smarter.
Yeah. Well, and you can wade with the best of them. That's because you go to the gym, you move your body, you're strong. And I mean, because some of the places that we waded were really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not easy, but that's where the fish live. So, that's
right.
And Eric, we did go back to your spot. Eric hooked another fish right where you hooked yours. So it's a good primary lie. It's a good bucket. He did not get it. He was on his bamboo rod. So I think there was something to do with that too. Just right. All the things. So because of you, I mean, we've been fishing that river forever, and I've never fished that specific portion of the water. You coming in, learning the water, you know how to read water, you know where fish lie. And so
Right.
he taught Eric and I something, and we went back a
Right.
couple days later and got one. So it was awesome.
Pretty
Yeah,
gnarly in there.
it's gnarly. Holy smokes. It's so, yeah. Like felt cleats.
So I was not following my advice of when you're by yourself, don't wade dangerously.
Yeah, yeah.
But I always look downstream. If I would have fallen in, I wasn't going to die.
Yeah.
It's like there was a waterfall that I was going to go over.
Yeah, you're just looking at your safety.
I'll just be wet.
You'll just be wet. But with the fish, I mean, to catch a wild buck, just to catch a steelhead. I mean, they're such incredible animals that, oh my God. A couple more questions. What advice would you have to allies or other folks that don't necessarily look like you or I? Is there anything that they can do to help us? You know, I know you said, hey, say hello, introduce yourselves, don't have any assumptions. But is there anything else as far as like clubs go or people? How can men support women or those that don't identify as male? How can people support all people within fishing?
I just think that first we have to be comfortable in understanding that fishing is for everybody. We've got to start with that and to understand that not everybody feels welcome. It's up to us to help people feel welcome. And it can be from walking into a fly shop, having people telling stories and not paying attention that you even walked in. That still happens. Drives me crazy. Mm-hmm. But I just think we need to be comfortable with, in our own skin, with all different kinds of people, all different kinds of looks, and not make assumptions. And just be welcoming. We need more now than ever. And wilderness is something that can bring us all together. The arts, wilderness, the environment, things that are just there for us to enjoy and appreciate.
Absolutely. I have 2 closing questions here. Campaign theme is Be What You Don't See. So it celebrates those who forge paths for others. So what does this phrase, Be What You Don't See, mean to you personally?
We all have a story. I'll end with this. In my senior year of high school, I went on a backpacking trip for 8 days in Wawa National Forest, Canada. And I was thrown in with other girls that I would have never been friends with because I was in a clique. We're all in cliques, right? High school. And this one gal, it rained for 8 days. I relied on her for strength, for warmth, for food. And we became really good friends. We would have never been friends had we not been put in that situation. I've never ever forgotten that lesson, to not judge a book by its cover. We all have a tendency to hang out with the same kind of people, that you're shortchanging yourself of meeting people that could be great enhancements to your life. I'll never forget that. That was a great lesson to learn. I don't know if it was what part of the curriculum or not, but just open up, let people in.
Yeah, that's
because everyone has a story. Everyone has something to share.
I really appreciate your time. I appreciate you so much as just being my mentor and my friend. And wow, we've had so many great adventures together and learning. And I mean, I am the angler that I am today, and the educator and instructor that I am today is because of you.
Oh, Heather.
So
to watch. The audience doesn't know this, but I watched Heather develop her Spokane on the Fly logo, her United Women on the Fly logo. So you had the dream, you had the vision, and look what you've done.
Yeah.
Now iFishiBelong, the community that you've grown. I mean, you've more than any woman I know in the world, you've introduced more people to the sport. We love it.
It's the passion project, and it brings you, and it's just like you just meet so many incredible people. And if you're open to it and you're open to mentorship and you pay that forward, I think that's the biggest thing. Is you've had all these mentors and you learned, and then now you're teaching me and you're teaching so many others. It's just this continual process. And
we've got to be in touch with our history. We don't want to lose our history.
No, it's very important. And speaking of that, you are in the fly fishing history, the museum. So all the things, like you are Be What You Don't See. You are somebody that women or all people can look at and say, this person at 43 years old decided to do this, and look at where they're at now. Yeah. And I think that that's really incredible and so inspiring, and not only to just be in the industry, but just to be an angler and just a good human. Molly, I love you, and I appreciate you so much. And Yeah, you're awesome.
And for everybody that's listening to this, just go take your step and go do it.
Go do it. Just do it.
Just do it.
Awesome.